The solution to the office being closed was just to go in, grab your bag, and apologize, and then leave. And if he yells at you then, you fight him. Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kristie. We've got some Reddit stories for you today, so let's dive in.
Am I the asshole for telling my fiancé I will not sign a prenup?
Not the asshole? I don't know. Unless you both agree to the prenup, I don't think you can sign it, but then you just might not get married if one of you is insistent on it. I don't know. I feel like if one of you wants it, you should be able to come to an amicable prenuptial agreement. So maybe? But then all at the same time, I feel like you shouldn't have to. I don't know. I'm conflicted on this one.
I can tell. He gave a lot of opinion. My fiancé and I have been together for almost 6 years and engaged for a little over 1. We have our wedding planned for 2 months from now. Out of nowhere last week, he brought up wanting a prenup. He said it is to protect his business in case things go wrong in the future. He owns a small but successful company that he had been growing since before we met.
Okay, bringing it up 2 months before the wedding, that is short notice.
Bringing it up that close to the wedding makes me think somebody got in his head.
Yeah.
When we first started dating, he was still working long hours for very little income. I've always been there through the late nights, the stressful lunches, and even the times he considered giving up. I helped him manage the house, took on more of the bills when he needed extra cash flow, and supported him emotionally through everything. I do not have as much money or assets as he does now, but I have invested years of my life into building a future together. So when he suddenly told me about the prenup, it felt like a slap in the face. I told him I was not comfortable signing something that makes it seem like he is already planning for our marriage to fail before it has even started. He said he is just being smart and protecting himself, and then added that if I refuse to sign, the wedding will be called off.
Okay.
Some serious cold feet on this guy.
Yeah. Who got in his head? Someone did.
I feel blindsided and hurt. This was never mentioned before we got engaged, or during the time we were planning the wedding. My friends are split. Some say I should sign it if I truly love him and want to prove I am not after his money. Others say the timing and ultimatum are a huge red flag and that he is showing me he does not really trust me. I keep going back and forth on whether I am overreacting or if this is a sign we should not get married at all.
Yeah, it's a little, pulling this so close to the wedding and then giving the ultimatum of you sign it or the wedding's off. That seems a little sketchy to me.
It's also close enough to the wedding where you can't get any of your deposits back.
I don't know. I do feel like she's been supporting him through growing his business. So I would want to know what he wants in the prenup. Does he get the entire business? Because I do feel like if they divorce, he should get most of it. But she should get a small percentage of it because she's been supporting him through all of this. Also, after they get married, what's the plan? Is she going to be a stay-at-home wife and then support him growing his business? Is she going to be a stay-at-home mom? Because then she does deserve a chunk of his business. But if she is also working, maybe she doesn't deserve as much of the business if they divorce as if she was being a stay-at-home wife or mom. I think there's a lot of things to take into consideration here, but she does probably deserve to get part of it if they divorce. And I feel like he's going to be saying in the prenup that she gets nothing, which is not fair. She's invested in this future with him. She deserves something, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she did invest in the business by supporting the household while he was investing a lot of time and work into it, where it seems like she was investing money into keeping him financially stable.
Yeah, and supporting the house.
So it seems... I get that he was working on the business before they started dating, but it does seem like she's invested into this business. It's not like she's just a stranger in this.
Yeah, I'd be like, what do you want to put in the prenup? And if he's going to try and screw you out of everything, I'd be like, that's a red flag.
Yeah, it depends a lot on what level of prenup he's looking to get, right?
Yeah.
But 2 months before the wedding, this is something you should have been talking about after you got engaged.
Yeah, right after you got engaged.
You've had a year.
Yes. This should have been brought up way sooner.
Yes.
Possibly even before the engagement.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been brought up at least a year ago, either way. It feels like cold feet to me.
Yeah, he's looking for an excuse to back out, and he's gonna, give her a horrible deal in the prenup and be like, if you don't sign it, then we're not getting married, and she's not gonna sign it, and that's gonna be his excuse.
Yeah, someone got in his head, or he's having second thoughts, and I feel like none of your friends are looking at it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, if you love him, you should sign, which is, if you're going to make it into a business thing, I guess the prenup's not about love. Get a lawyer.
Yeah.
Get your own lawyer, and your lawyers are going to have to talk, I guess.
I think you have to. I think both people have to have a lawyer.
Probably.
Before the prenup is signed. But, yeah, I was like, it's, at this point, if he's bringing a prenup into it, it's not about love. It's about business. Because if he loved you, he wouldn't be requiring a prenup. So, this goes both ways.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he doesn't have the assets of, like, somebody who needs a prenup, even if there's love.
Mm-hmm.
From the information she provided, I really don't feel like this is a prenup situation. Top comment. Not the asshole if that's how you feel, but you should build clauses into the prenup that acknowledges your work and support.
Yes.
So essentially, yes. Prenups don't have to be one-sided. You can negotiate terms that protect both of you and recognize the years you've invested in his success. It could actually give you peace of mind rather than take it away. That's essentially Reddit's opinion. Like, if you do sign the prenup, get a lawyer. Make sure everything's good. Don't just let it be one-sided. I'm going to sign this document.
Yeah.
Like, you have also invested in this relationship and your lives and his business.
So you deserve something. It shouldn't be you get nothing and he gets everything.
Exactly.
If you divorce.
And, the terms of the prenup are never mentioned.
Yeah.
So, it could be a very, acceptable.
But him saying, I want a prenup to protect myself makes me feel like he's going to try and screw her out of everything.
Get a better lawyer than him then.
Yeah. Am I the asshole for entering my coworker's office after he told me not to?
I mean, he did tell you not to, but also, your coworkers, you must have to enter his office sometimes. I'm gonna go with not the asshole for now, but let's see what kind of behavior you're doing when you enter.
I've been working in this office for 3 months, but because of space shortages, I currently share it with a coworker who just started last week. Even though he's new, he's technically my supervisor. Today, I was told I could leave early because I'd finished all my work. I stepped out for about 5 minutes to see if anyone else needed help, but nobody did. When I came back, there was a "Please do not disturb" sign on the door. Usually that means there's a meeting or conversation going on, and they can last close to an hour. The problem was, my bag with my wallet, water, and food was still in there. I didn't want to wait almost an hour to get it, so I asked another coworker for advice. She suggested knocking. I waited another 5 minutes, then knocked. He said, "Not right now." I knocked again to show I wasn't there for chit-chat, but because I actually needed something.
Just go in if it's your office too. What are you doing?
Still, not right now. I opened the door just enough to explain that I needed to grab my bag. It was literally one step inside. He immediately snapped, "I told you no," in a raised voice and basically kicked me back out.
What? Why are you being so passive about this? It's your office too. Just walk in, and if you disturb a meeting, be like, "Sorry," and to grab your bag and leave. If he's gonna be a dick about it, you yell back at him. I don't care if he's your supervisor.
That's what I would do too, but... I shut the door and left, but was so shaken I ended up crying in the bathroom. When this meeting was finally over, I went back in to collect my things. I was still upset, and he told me I had no right to be pissed. I said I only wanted my bag and that I have the right to access my own belongings. I suggested that if he's planning a meeting in our shared office, he could at least let me know so I can grab my stuff beforehand. He said he doesn't see it that way and doesn't need to tell me anything, and he kept pushing the point. At that stage, I was trying not to cry again, so I told him it's harder for me because I'm autistic. The second I said that, his tone changed. He softened and said he didn't know, and now it was fine. But it really bothered me that I had to disclose something so personal just to get basic understanding. Now I'm worried this could hurt my reputation. He's well-liked, and I'm scared it'll get spun as me causing drama, especially since I've been socially excluded before because of my autism. Until now, this was the first workplace where I felt genuinely safe and included, and I'd even considered staying long-term. Now I'm not so sure. So, am I the asshole for going in after he told me not to?
It sounds like you're completely in your own head and you're the one escalating this. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
The solution to the office being closed was just to go in, grab your bag, and apologize, and then leave. And if he yells at you then, you fight him. Any reasonable person would just be like, "There's my coworker." It sounds like your supervisor isn't that awful of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, "Not now," and then you kept knocking.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why you were asking permission in the first place.
I don't either. Just knock. Don't even wait for an answer. Quietly open the door, reach in and grab your...
Yeah, even if it's like on the opposite side of the office, you just sort of slip in, grab it, and go. If he's having a meeting in a shared office, he has to accept that might happen.
Yeah, I was like, this is your office too. He can't lock you out of it, and just go in and get your stuff.
Yeah,
She's making too big of a deal out of this.
Does your office not have any meeting rooms that he could have been in, and then it's his fault?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get space is limited, but usually there's like a small conference room that you can go and take video calls in.
Yeah, I feel like the do not disturb sign just means, hey, I'm busy, don't come in and try and talk to me, I'm in a meeting. It doesn't mean you can't come in here and grab something real quick because it's your office too.
Yeah, it's nuts to me to knock. And what's up with your coworker telling you to knock? They don't know how to navigate social situations either.
I don't know, I feel like because it's their boss, it's a little bit different, but why are you sharing office space with your boss? That's really weird to me too.
It's a supervisor, not a boss, maybe. So,
I don't know what the difference is.
Well, like, they're more maybe like your team lead,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the boss might be like the owner of a small company.
Okay.
So, they're your direct report, but I don't know if I'd call them your boss. Some people use the words kind of interchangeably, though.
I feel like the fact that he's her supervisor is probably adding to her anxiety about this and, like, feeling like he said do not disturb. She's taking that literally. It says do not disturb. I cannot disturb him in any way. Not just like, hey, I'm busy in a meeting. Don't come and try and talk to me. She's disturbing him more by being like, hey, can I come in? Than if she just quietly snuck in.
She absolutely is. And it sounds like she just got completely overwhelmed by the situation.
Yeah. And I do get that. She's like having severe anxiety about doing the right thing and not getting in trouble at work. And what is she allowed to do and not allowed to do? And autistic people have trouble with that. There is no written down rules about this. What do I do?
Yeah.
I need a handbook for how to handle workplace interactions.
Yeah, find a better person in the office to get advice from.
Yeah, because she should have told you just
slip in there.
Quietly slip in and grab your stuff.
I feel like supervisor was only a little bit an asshole, right? Like, snapping at you was mean, but you kept knocking. I don't know.
I feel like his reaction after the meeting was over... Like, he's like, you have no right to be angry about
that.
Upset about
I forgot
this.
about that part. Yeah, that was rude.
So after the meeting, he was like, you have no right to be upset about this, and I don't need to tell you if I'm going to be having a meeting in the office beforehand.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
But if you have a meeting in the office in the middle of the day, is she supposed to just go sit in the bathroom for half an hour?
Yeah, I feel like it would be polite to give a heads up that, hey, I'm having a meeting. And then also not get upset if she sneaks in to grab something from her office in the middle, quietly, without disturbing you.
But, like, he must have meetings in the middle of the day, too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand what he does in those situations. Maybe his desk is maneuvered so that the wall is in the background and not her when he's on the video calls.
Yeah.
But in that case, she should just be able to slip in real easy. Yeah, I really hope he's not, like, locking you out when he wants to have any sort of phone call, because that's not good for your productivity.
Top comment, NTA, F that, talk to HR, that's completely inappropriate. There's no reason why he couldn't have just let her come in and quietly get her things.
Yeah, there isn't.
Unless it's a very personal/private call, or he's doing something shifty to where he couldn't afford her possibly overhearing. NTA, but something's up.
I hate the fact that he has a do not disturb sign at all.
Mm-hmm.
In every office I've worked in, if the door is just closed, that means don't disturb them.
Yeah.
And then you open the door when people can walk in and ask you questions, especially with an office mate. That's crazy to me.
Some people think that the supervisor has been there a week and he's just trying to flex how important he is.
I forgot that he'd only been there a week. Yeah, you have been there longer than him. Yeah, that could be a power play of some kind, but he's not making any friends at the office, is he?
Yeah, pretty much everybody's saying you're not the asshole, but you should have just walked in and grabbed things. But now take it to HR because he's making a big deal out of it.
Yeah, I have to agree. With the way it escalated, it might become an HR situation here, especially with both of you being kind of new. Because she's only been there for 3 months?
Yeah, she's been there 3 months.
Neither of you have been there very long.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're liking this video so far, hit that subscribe button.
We really appreciate your support.
Am I the asshole for refusing to give my cousin the family recipe after she said I wasn't even a real cook?
Not the asshole. If she's insulting you, don't do her any favors.
I, 31 female, run a small catering side business out of my home. Nothing huge, but it's growing steadily. I use a lot of family recipes, including a marinade that's been passed down from my grandmother. I've put my own spin on it over the years, but it's still one of the dishes I'm most known for. My cousin, 35 female, who's more of a Pinterest chef, her words, recently asked for the recipe because she wanted to make it for a dinner party. Normally I'd have no issue sharing, but in the past she's mocked my cooking, saying stuff like it's not real, because I didn't go to culinary school or work in a restaurant.
Making money doing it, so I think it's real.
So I told her no, I wasn't comfortable giving it out. She immediately called me selfish and accused me of gatekeeping a family tradition. Now she's been posting passive-aggressive stuff online. Something like, some people are so threatened by little talent.
She didn't go to chef school either.
My mom thinks I should just let it go and give her the recipe to keep the peace. But to be honest, I'm still salty about the way she disrespected my work in the past. Which may be petty, I know.
Okay, yes, this is petty, but I think deserved. I'd be like, no, it's a family recipe. You can go get it from a family member you haven't insulted, if there are any, because it sounds like she's a very insulting person. Also, she says that this family recipe is like something she's modified over the years.
Yeah.
I would give her, if I did decide to give her the recipe, I wouldn't give her my new upgraded version. I would give her the original.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when she's like, why isn't this as good? I'd be like, oh, well, that's the original one. I made it better, though. But, you said I'm not any good, so I didn't think you'd want my upgrades.
Yeah, it's the grandma's traditional one.
Yeah.
I just assumed that's what you wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm also petty. I might just be like, fine, I'll give it to you, and then give her the wrong recipe. Just to be petty.
I hate that part right there. Nothing gets under my skin faster than somebody giving me a fake recipe instead of just telling me no.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple people in the past be like they left out their secret ingredient when they offered to share something, and I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, why would you do that? In this case, it's because her cousin's mean. But you didn't do anything wrong.
Well, maybe I did.
Maybe you did.
Who knows?
What did you do?
I don't know. I didn't consider it.
They just don't like you.
Am I the asshole?
Are you the asshole? They just don't like you. I don't like that, Josh. I'm not sharing my secret recipe with him.
Exactly.
He's an asshole.
Reddit, unsurprisingly, says not the asshole. Not the asshole. I hope you made the link between her comments and your lack of desire to share clear. Something along the lines of, I'm surprised you would even want this recipe since I am not a real cook. If Grandma wanted her to have it, she would have given it to her.
Ooh.
Obviously, Grandma knew who the real cook was.
Good point.
Grandma picking favorites.
Rubber face in it.
Not the asshole. Funny how she calls you not a real cook until she needs your secrets. The audacity is stunning. And then a lot of people in the comments are going with your advice of giving her just Grandma's recipe or leaving something out of yours.
Yeah.
They're as diabolical as you, Kristie.
Be petty. Am I the asshole for wanting to cancel my wedding after my fiancé accidentally sold my late dad's guitar?
How do you accidentally sell a guitar? I'm going to say not the asshole. I don't believe you can accidentally sell a guitar.
When I was 14, my dad passed away suddenly. The only thing I kept of his was his old Fender guitar. It wasn't worth much money, but to me, it was priceless. He taught me to play on it, and every time I touched those strings, it felt like he was still here. I told everyone in my life, especially my fiancé, that this guitar was off limits.
Okay, so you've had discussions about this guitar.
Fast forward to last weekend, we're getting married in 3 weeks. My fiancé has been on this weird minimalism kick, selling random things on Facebook Marketplace for extra honeymoon cash. I came home from work and noticed my guitar stand was empty. I thought maybe he moved it because we were deep cleaning. Nope, he had sold it.
He's selling your stuff too, huh?
Everything must go. We need cash for the honeymoon. When I confronted him, he said he forgot it was sentimental and thought it was just collecting dust. He even bragged that he got $150 for it.
$150 isn't a lot for a guitar.
I mean, she said it wasn't a special, it wasn't a fancy special guitar, but it's sentimental.
I guess. I just feel like, yeah, I would say $150 for that's a cheap guitar.
I lost it. Like, ugly crying, shaking, couldn't breathe. He kept saying, babe, I'll just buy you another one. You can get the same model online. Probably not for that price. He, really undersold it, I think.
How old is this guitar?
I don't know. It was her dad's. They don't say.
She was 14, and now she's marriageable age.
Mm-hmm.
Unless she's getting married at, 21, this guitar probably is not for sale online for, from the manufacturer
Yeah,
anymore.
you're going to have to, get it on eBay or something.
Right. For probably more than $150.
But that's not the point. It wouldn't be her dad's guitar.
No, it would not be her dad's guitar. I'm just saying I feel like he can't get the same model online.
And not for $150, I'm sure. I feel like he underpriced it. Okay, anyways. But it's not the same. My dad's fingerprints were literally worn into the fretboard. You can't buy that back. I immediately asked him to message the buyer to get it back. He refused at first because he didn't want to look stupid. But he is stupid.
He already looks stupid.
I told him I didn't care if he looked like an idiot. Go get my guitar. When he finally reached out, the buyer said they'd already gifted it to their teenage son, who absolutely loves it and wouldn't give it back.
Yeah, they got a really good deal on that guitar.
Yeah. Since then, my fiancé has been sulking, acting like I'm overreacting and ruining the wedding vibe. He told his mom, who already doesn't like me, and now his whole family is texting me to stop punishing him for an honest mistake. I'm not sure I can marry someone who can be this careless with something I've been crystal clear about for years. It's not about the guitar, it's about the fact that he didn't care enough to remember. Am I the asshole for thinking about calling off the wedding?
No. Honestly, no, you're not. The complete disregard for your feelings here is appalling. Before and after the sale.
Yes, that's the thing I thought. I was like, it was very careless and of him to sell it, because he knew that this was super important to her and he just didn't care.
Well, he knew it wasn't his.
That too.
Why are you selling stuff that's hers? I don't care if you live together. I don't care if you're married yet. If you're married, I still would not go and sell your stuff without talking to you first.
That is a good point. But it's just collecting dust.
A lot of stuff in our house is, and I'd still be mad if you sold some of it.
Okay, but really it's his reaction afterwards that is also a huge red flag. He's not immediately apologetic and, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, let me make this right. You're overreacting.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care about her feelings.
No, he does not like this guitar or something.
Top comment. Time to go to the police and report the guitar as stolen.
You'd be able to get it back.
OP responds, that's actually what I've been debating. I already spoke to the police once, but part of me feels like if I go through with filing an official stolen property report, there's no going back from that. It's the end of the relationship, period. But then again, maybe it should be the end. He knew exactly what that set meant to me, and he took it anyways. If that's not theft, I don't know what is. Someone else replied, this is the only way to get your dad's guitar back, I fear. So it's, does she want the relationship, or does she want her dad's guitar back?
Well, it's does she want the relationship, or does she want to be out of the relationship and have the guitar?
Yes.
Because at this point, I might want to leave this relationship and I get my guitar back.
Yeah.
Because
Two good things.
Yeah, Fiancé's not handling this situation very great. He's not coming across good.
Yeah, but it sounds like the buyer isn't going to give it back or sell it back to them,
Mm-hmm.
So this is the only way she's going to get that guitar back, I think. And
if it's stolen property, they have to give it back.
Yeah, and if her fiancé gets in some legal trouble for it, well, too bad.
Yeah, I mean, he technically stole it. I don't know what to tell. You're not married yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your stuff.
Another comment. Honestly, I wouldn't blame you at all for calling it off. This isn't just about a guitar. It's about the lack of respect, care, and understanding he showed towards something you made crystal clear was precious to you. The fact that he's sulking instead of taking full responsibility says a lot. You deserve a partner who values your feelings and possessions, especially ones tied to such deep memories. NTA. OP says that's exactly how she feels. I told him countless times over the years how much that guitar meant to me. It's like it went in one ear and out the other. The fact that his first reaction was to defend himself instead of even trying to make it right is what's really eating at me. If he can dismiss something so personal now, what happens down the line when it's something even bigger?
It sounds like he didn't like this guitar for some reason, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you've told him multiple times stories about this guitar,
Uh-huh.
why does he have a grudge against this guitar?
Maybe she is really, really bad at playing guitar. And she's like, but it's my dad's guitar, and pulls it out and plays it. But he did say it was collecting dust, so it doesn't sound like she plays it a lot. But,
maybe she tells too many stories about it?
I don't know. But yeah, it does sound like
Either way, it's petty.
It sounds like he's holding a grudge against this guitar for some reason.
Yeah. Either he was not paying attention to these sentimental stories you were telling him, or he just does not like this guitar. Either way, he doesn't respect you. Am I the asshole for using professional language on an email I sent on behalf of my husband?
Who are you sending it to that being professional is a problem? I'm going to say not the asshole, but I really want to hear the story and figure out what's going on.
My 30 female husband, 43 male, accepted a new job, and as part of that job, he needed to sign a consent form to send to his new employer so they could complete some type of background check or related thing. He tried to send this email a few times, and it would not go through. He asked me if I would send it, and I said I would. So I drafted the following pasted email. Attached hereto, please find the executed consent form for my husband. Thank you. My name. I CC'd my husband on the email because he asked me to. 30 minutes go by, and I get a text from him. Oh my god, what kind of overkill email was that? This was yesterday, so today I am at work, and I get another series of texts from him where he says, essentially, that he is completely embarrassed by me. That my email was inappropriate to send to his new employer. He said that he wants to retire from this job, and my language was some kind of Tom Clancy book out of colonial times. He said I overcomplicated it tenfold, and this is why he never asks me for help. He said every time I am involved, I try to sabotage him, and he regrets it. He claims I'm the asshole for how I sent the email. Am I the asshole for the language I used in my email?
I personally think this is hilarious and he is way overreacting. If I got an email like that from someone, I would giggle. I'm sorry, she's going all like ye old English on it.
She really did. That was beyond, was beyond professional. That was formal, like, wedding invitation.
Yeah, okay, wait, read it again to me.
Attached hereto, please find the executed consent form for my husband. Thank you, my name.
It's the here to.
It's absolutely the here to and the executed consent form.
Yeah, but I still feel like if you said like attached below, see the executed consent form. That's still
yeah, you're right.
Pretty normal sounding.
It's all that here too.
The here to. What the heck? It is so ye old English, and yeah, it makes it sound really weird and funny. But I think that's hilarious. I think he's overreacting. Is there a job where someone would receive that email and be so upset about it that it would, like, tarnish their opinion of you?
Maybe the IRS or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like most jobs that would be a kind of, that's slightly funny story, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it would be a deal breaker, really.
No, it's just a funny little anecdote, you know? But, I don't think that's a big deal breaker. And the husband is way overreacting.
I might tease you a little about your wife's weird wording.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bigger deal breaker would be the fact that you couldn't send an email.
Yeah.
If you failed to send an email to me multiple times and your wife had to send it, I'm gonna have to ask you about that.
Mm-hmm. She should have at least included, hey, we're having some technical difficulties.
Yeah?
So I'm sending this on behalf of my husband because his email isn't working, you know.
My assumption was that he was having some sort of conversation with the new work.
Oh, okay.
And that he's like, hey, I don't know why. That's my best assumption.
I don't know why this isn't working, but I'm going to have my wife send it. So just look out for an email from her. That would make more sense.
That's what I'm hoping he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise I'm going to be like, wait, is your wife going to be sending all your emails for you?
Yeah.
We're only hiring one person here. But yeah, kind of a funny email. That here too was so over the top.
I feel like this is something if you sent this email for me, I would just like roll my eyes and then tease you about it for forever.
Absolutely. All right, she's got two little updates to clarify.
Uh-huh.
When he asked me to send the PDF, we were on the phone and I read to him what I was typing and asked if it sounded okay, and he said yes.
Okay, now you're really not the asshole. He approved the email.
He wasn't listening.
That's on him. Listen to your wife.
He's just like, yeah, whatever, just attach it. You don't have to write anything in the subject. And then a second update. I work in the legal field, so this is professional for what I do for a living. I do not believe you.
I don't either. The legal field does not go all ye old English.
I've never seen any contract that says, what was the word?
Here too.
Yeah, I've never seen any contract that says here too.
I don't know. But even if it's in like a contract, you don't write your emails like that. I feel like, think of a will. Do you think that it might be like in a will, the here to mentioned people are receiving this amount
Maybe.
from this, you know?
If you're trying to be like fancy.
Yeah.
even then, you're trying to do it because the dead person wants to sound fancy post-mortem.
Yes, I do feel like this is like, even if you use this wording in a legal contract, you don't use it in an email.
All right. Top comment. Not the asshole. The email was awkward. I'm a lawyer and I still use plain English. Please find the attached consent form signed by my husband would have sufficed.
Yes.
But holy fuck did your husband overreact. No one who saw it cares. They just want the form on file. Your husband sounds like he has anxiety and thinks people focus on him more than they probably do. Not the asshole. Here too is a bit much. But to be honest, I would be judging way more the fact that his wife sent his consent form instead of him. Like you're his mommy or admin.
Hopefully he had a discussion.
Yeah. There are situations where it's fine. But yeah, if I had a new employee turn up and like, I would hope that they talk to me and be like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I cannot get this email to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this comment. My language was some kind of Tom Clancy book out of colonial times. Does your husband not know what sort of books Tom Clancy wrote? Or is he confusing Tom Clancy with Thomas Hardy? And then OP replied to that, I really don't know this answer. He is not a big reader and gives me shit when I want to read instead of sit on the couch and watch a TV show he is interested in.
I also thought the Tom Clancy comment was weird. I was like, yes, colonial times. Tom Clancy? No. I was like, doesn't he write, like, spy novels?
I think so, doesn't he?
I don't know. I haven't read anything of his, but I think they're, like, spy or murder mystery or something.
Or, like, military ops
yeah.
type stuff. I think so. I just know that there's a video game series based off of one of his, like, Rainbow Six books or something.
Am I the asshole for only taking care of my kid?
Were you supposed to be taking care of more than one kid? In which case, yes. I'm gonna give you a not the asshole for now, but let's see how this shifts.
I was with my ex-wife Amy for 4 years. We have an 18-month-old daughter, Wynn. We got divorced last year. Amy has a 6-year-old daughter, Ella, whose dad isn't involved. During our marriage, I took on the brunt of the money stuff because she was a stay-at-home mom our whole relationship. The whole time, I treated Ella no differently than I treated Wynn. I got her everything she needed, and I cared for her as a parent should. Once we split 50-50 custody of Wynn. I pay insurance as well as pay her monthly payments by choice as I make more money than her. I want our daughter to have a comfortable life. My issue is my ex-wife is feeling some type of way because I no longer want to fund Ella's life. When I pick up Wynn, it's not a secret we go off and do fun stuff like the zoo or whatever else we can get into. Wynn also often gets new clothes and shoes. Amy feels it's not fair that I won't maintain Ella's life anymore after 4 years of doing it. That I've abandoned my daughter. I feel she's no longer my responsibility. I know Amy cannot afford to give Ella the life we used to give her, but why should I have to do it? I talked to my mom about it, and she thinks I'm a massive asshole as she sees Ella as her granddaughter just as much as she sees Wynn. So, am I the asshole? If so, I'll eat it and continue to help with Ella.
Ooh, you were this girl's dad for 4 years.
From the time she was 2 to 6.
You're like the only dad she's ever known, apparently.
And now, suddenly...
You want to cut her off and she's not yours anymore?
Yeah,
like,
her dad has moved out and only likes her little sister now. Doesn't love her anymore. How do you think that little girl feels?
Probably pretty bad, right?
Uh-huh.
My first question here is, why is your ex-wife only going after you? It sounds like other dad is still around somewhere.
Yeah, go after him for more child support.
Yeah, it sounds like she's just not doing that.
I don't know, maybe she can't find him, maybe she just knows he's not gonna pay.
I guess, but, like, you shouldn't be the easier target.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, but also, like, you're going to the zoo, bring them both.
Yeah.
I feel like it's super weird to just be like, she's not my daughter anymore.
Yeah, after, like, 4 years, you've basically raised her. You're the only dad she knows. I feel like you're the asshole.
Yeah, you're kind of the asshole here. It seems weird to me that you would have to, like, pay for all of her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's such, like, a sticky situation here. I wouldn't want her to think I don't love her. But also, like, I don't know, can you afford to pay her insurance and stuff?
That's a good point. But, I mean, it sounds like he's making more payments than he needs to for Wynn, just because he wants his daughter to have a good life. But he's not willing to do that for the older daughter, Ella. Legally, you're entirely in the clear. Morally, you're the asshole without a doubt. Either you only pretended to love and care for this child for 4 years, or you're beyond callous to cut off all contact just because you have no legal obligation.
Yeah, I think that summed it up pretty good. Like, legally, you're fine. But no, you're kind of an asshole for just cutting this kid off. Like, I feel like it's super weird to just not, like, invite her along because she was your daughter for 4 years.
Yeah, I don't know if I, raised a child for 4 years, if I could just cut them off.
Right?
I don't think, personally, I could do that. Another comment, whatever went on between you and your ex-wife, I'm sorry, that sucks. However, while you may not be the biological father of your elder daughter, you are the only father that girl has ever known or loved. She didn't hurt you. None of this is her fault. You suddenly excluding her from your life, only showing you care and love for your biological daughter, is unbelievably cruel to that poor kid. She doesn't understand. She'll never understand. From her perspective, her mom and dad got divorced, which is already incredibly difficult for a young child. And now her dad only loves her little sister. That must be so confusing for her and so painful. Frankly, I don't understand how you can do it.
Yeah, that is rough. I don't know what you do in that situation, even legally.
Yeah.
Like, if you did want her still in your life, you'd almost have to sue for joint custody on a kid that's not yours, legally? I don't know how that works.
You chose to be that kid's dad, so please snap out of whatever spiteful funk you're in and be there for her.
I kind of agree with that. It does sound like you maybe are being a little spiteful about the divorce and kind of an asshole. Even your mom considers her a granddaughter.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot if your mom thinks you're the asshole.
Yeah,
and
right?
Stop being an asshole to my granddaughter.
Yeah, I think no matter the legality of this, you might need to snap out of it and, bring her to the zoo a little and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem fair that you should have to pay for this child that is not biologically yours, but I feel like you chose to be her dad and you should maybe step up and pay.
It does seem like that.
And at the very least, if you're not going to step up financially, step up emotionally and be there for this little girl. Keep taking her out to the zoo and show her that you still love her, which apparently he doesn't, though, because he's a horrible asshole of a man.
At least the emotional part, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's probably more important, in my opinion. Mom should be stepping up and kind of balancing things on her end.
Yeah.
And being like, well, youngest daughter has support over here, so I can put a little more towards older sister to balance things out between them.
Mm-hmm.
That seems fair in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think you should just have to continue to financially support your ex-wife. But the kids, I think you need to accept some of that emotional burden. I mean, like I said, I think the comments and we have said, I know you're angry at your ex-wife probably, but the kids aren't at fault for that, and you are emotionally responsible for both of them. I think it's an asshole thing not to step up and continue to be at least a partial dad for this girl.
I agree.
At least take her out on the outings and stuff. Like, she loves you, at least.
Yeah.
Right?
That little girl still loves you like a dad because you are her dad. So
Yeah.
I feel like you need to step up and be her dad.
A little bit.
I don't know if I could disappoint a little girl that loved me like that, that I'd been a dad to for 4 years.
Yeah, if you married her mom when she was 2, you knew what you were getting into.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm going with he's the asshole, and he needs to be nicer to that little girl.
I'm afraid so, man. You're the asshole. Not legally, like that person said, but morally, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the asshole for not tipping a waitress on a $300 plus tab?
Yes. Tip your waitresses. Okay, but how horrible was this waitress? Because she was bad if you didn't tip.
Right, if he didn't tip and posted about it on Reddit.
Yeah, she was awful. What did she do?
Something happened, right? The other day, my friend's girlfriend broke up with him, so the boys and I decided to take him to a club to cheer him up. I was the last to arrive, and they had already gotten a table and were all drinking alcohol. When the waitress came up to me and asked what I wanted to drink, I couldn't have alcohol because of the medicine I'm on, so I ordered a Sprite. She gave me an awkward smile and said okay. 10 minutes went by, and I still hadn't received my Sprite. However, she came back, asked my friends at the same table if they wanted another round. They all said yes, and then they ordered shots as well. I reminded her about my Sprite, and she nodded and left. She then brought all the alcohol and shots back out for my friends, but still no Sprite. About 10 to 20 minutes later, she returned and asked how we were doing. Everyone said they were fine, and I said I still hadn't got my Sprite yet. She nodded again, but didn't even walk back to the bar. Instead, she started talking to another girl. After waiting an additional 10 or so minutes, I decided to go to the bar myself and get a Sprite and a water. I paid the bartender, left a tip, and went back to the table.
She just really does not want to give you your Sprite.
Right?
What does she have against non-alcoholic drinks?
I don't know, because usually you treat the designated driver kind of nicely at bars.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I don't have to deal with these drunks when it's time for them to go.
You are being in charge of all your drunk friends. Good for you. Yeah. I'm going to treat you nice.
A lot of clubs give you like that nice little wristband and don't even charge you for the Sprite.
Do they? I haven't been to a lot of bars, I guess. 'Cause I'm not a big drinker.
Yeah, like not all of them, but like nightclubs and stuff, like they want a designated driver there so they're not liable for drunk people. So if you get that little designated driver bracelet, like you don't get any alcohol because of the bracelet, but a lot of times they're like, yeah, the Sprite's free.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But he's way more patient than me. I would have gone to the bar a lot sooner and gotten my Sprite. Sounds like he's like been almost an hour now. He kept waiting 10 minutes and waiting 20 minutes and waiting 10 minutes and... it's been like an hour. I would have gone and got my own Sprite at the bar, because this waitress obviously is not going to bring it.
We hung out for another few hours, my friends drinking a lot of alcohol and eating hors d'oeuvres. When we were ready to leave, she brought our checks and gave me one for the Sprite she never brought. I told her, you never gave me the Sprite, I got it from the bar. She responded, oh, the bar transferred it to me, and I replied, no, I paid the bar. She said okay and took the check away. I don't know why I was so upset about the Sprite. It's just a Sprite. But my friends were also upset that I was being treated that way. So they all paid their tabs, left no tip, and wrote on the checks, you should have brought my friend a Sprite. I think it's messed up not to leave tips, and I would have told them not to do that if they had let me know in advance, because people rely on that money for their livelihoods.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't like being discriminated against because I can't drink alcohol due to my medications. Do you think we were being assholes for not leaving a tip?
I don't think you were an asshole. I think your friends were a little bit of an assholes, but you can't control that. I mean, he didn't know that they did that until later, so he couldn't tell them not to. Anyways, but I think his friends should have tipped because they got decent service from the waitress, even if they only tipped like 10% and like docked her tip a little bit because she didn't give Sprite to your friend. But I think they should have tipped something. Does that make sense?
I get where you're coming from, but if you're rude to one person in my party, I don't owe you anything, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, if we were all on one bill, and one person in our group didn't get their thing and the waitress just kept ignoring them, I don't know if I would tip. There have been, like, 2 or 3 times in my entire life that I have gotten such bad service that I have not left a tip. Like, you've really got to be a bad waitress or waiter to not get a tip. Like, the worst waiter I've ever had, I was on the first date with this girl, and he just kept making jokes at my expense.
Ooh.
And, like, even the girl...
He liked your girlfriend.
Maybe. Because even the girl kept giving him looks like, why is this guy...
Picking on you.
Picking on me. And I'm like, I'm trying to be polite and just laugh it off and make him go away. And, like, no, I didn't leave him a tip because... I didn't get a second date, for one. Yeah,
you can't make fun of your customers and then expect to get a tip. That's a good point.
I feel like this is also just really bad service. It's like, does she not want a tip? Or maybe she's thinking like, oh, he's ordering a Sprite. 30% of that is going to be like less than $1.
30%?
I don't know.
Okay, I was like, I usually tip 20%.
Okay, well, any percent is going to be less than $1, so he's not worth my time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking. It is why she wasn't doing it, because she could make more money bringing alcohol to other people. Because alcohol costs more, you get a bigger tip. That's kind of why I thought she was ignoring him.
Which is probably the case. So I would say your friends are a little justified standing up for you, because you don't have that tipping power that they do.
Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of agree with that. But I always feel like if the service was bad, I tip 10% instead of my standard 20. If the service was great, I tip 25%. But like, I don't think I've ever not left a tip at all. I don't think I've ever had service that bad.
I think that my scale will go down to 0, but there is you really got to be bad, right?
Yeah. Unless you have, I think it'd be you insulted me and extremely offended me.
Yeah.
I don't tip you, but I've never had that happen. So.
I mean, if you're at like a restaurant and the waitress just doesn't bring your food, you just walk out. It's not like you wait around and pay or leave a tip. You don't slap down a tip and then not pay for the food you didn't get. You just walk out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I feel like your buddies had your back. I'm not generally okay with stiffing servers. I feel like she deserved this.
Maybe it will teach her a lesson.
Mm-hmm. Top comment. Not the asshole. I've worked as a bartender, waitress, and a barista. That kind of behavior doesn't just deserve a no tip, it also deserves a call to the bar owner to let them know why the waitress didn't get a tip.
That's a good point. That is something you maybe should complain to the manager about.
Right? You got such bad service, are you going to go back to that club?
Nope.
I don't know, your friends seem to be having a good time.
Yeah.
Not the asshole. I've been a bartender and a waitress. This service deserves no tip. Soft drinks and water take less than 10 seconds to make.
It is super easy.
It really is. You just push the button on the wand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not hard. And then someone replied to that. It's pure profit. Plus, designated drivers are a thing. Some places give them soft drinks for free, or at least they did decades ago when I used to go out, not the asshole. Same for me.
Yeah. Do they still do that? Don't know. Haven't been out in about 10 years.
I don't go out drinking much anymore.
Not to clubs, anyways.
Yeah, I don't go to clubs. I go to bars.
Yeah, it's usually like a brewery.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for not paying for a wedding I'm not attending?
To what extent are you paying for this wedding? Like, are you a father of the bride and you're not contributing? Or do you just mean, like, travel expenses and the cost of your plate? I'm gonna say not the asshole, because it's silly to pay for something you're not attending. And let's see how the story goes.
I, 30 female, started a relationship with Joe, 31 male, in the middle of May this year. Shortly after we started going out, he asked me to be a +1 to his friend Meg's wedding. I have never met Meg, but I agreed to go. We RSVP'd, and Joe booked plane tickets and a hotel room. A couple days ago, I ended the relationship with Joe. It's important to note that while money was not the main reason for the breakup, it was one of the things we argued about most. I am very frugal, perhaps to a fault, and Joe likes to spend money on creature comforts and trips, and often expects me to do the same. Joe lives at home rent-free, while I have my own apartment. I live pretty much paycheck to paycheck with a small stash set aside in savings. There's still about 5 weeks left to the wedding. I ended the relationship when I did, partly because I didn't want to be in the pictures from the wedding and cause people to feel bad when they looked back at those pictures.
Oh, that's like actually good forethought.
Yeah, like she knows this isn't going to work out.
Yeah.
Might as well break it off now before going to the wedding and being in pictures and ruining it for people.
There's always that one person in the wedding photos and where you look back.
Who the heck is that?
You look back and you're like, and there's that bitch.
Yeah. Don't know who she is. Somebody's date.
Yeah, Joe dragged her along.
I'm returning everything Joe left in my apartment, save a few things he was okay with me keeping. I also offered to pay for my plane ticket and my half of the hotel stay as a good faith gesture.
I mean, that's fair.
It comes to over $400, which is just about everything I have in savings.
Oh, wow, you really,
She really is living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
That savings cushion was not very big.
No, I thought she had a bigger savings cushion when she mentioned a cushion.
Today, Joe contacted me and asked if I could pay another $125 on top of all that to offset Meg's costs for my plate and everything at the reception. He says it's so close to the wedding, and since deposits have gone to vendors, I should pay my portion. I think that more than a month's notice is ample time for Meg to either fill the seat or for Joe to find another +1, who would also be benefiting from my paying half of the hotel stay.
So, when we got married, I don't think our venue made us lock in our final seat number until, like, a week and a half before the wedding.
I think it was like 5 days.
Yeah, it was something really small. because we had people shifting around at the last second.
Yeah.
Like, I had an uncle that was like, no, I'm going fishing instead.
Uh-huh.
And, like, you had a cousin from Pennsylvania who was like, I'm actually going to drive out.
Yeah.
So we had chaos. I think everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
But we had random people just shifting things around and trying to bring, like, a +2.
Yeah, and one of your cousins were like, oh, I'm bringing my kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't tell us that beforehand.
I also think that since I wouldn't pay that money if I was attending, then I shouldn't have to pay now that I'm not. It's my understanding that people not going to weddings after they RSVP is just one of those costs that is inevitable. And I'm at least doing a Meg the courtesy of giving over a month's notice. Am I the asshole?
No, this is entirely on Joe. He should have, if he's not going to bring a new date, he should have contacted the couple and been like, hey, I'm just coming solo. Change my reservation.
Yes, I do wonder if this is Joe just trying to get more money out of her and like Meg doesn't even know this is going on.
Yeah, like if I get 125 from OP, can I pay for a nicer gift for them or just have some travel money?
But yeah, 5 weeks notice is more than enough time to like rearrange your seating usually. And yeah, this is something that you just gotta expect to happen if you're planning a wedding. Some people are not gonna show up and you're just gonna have to eat the cost of their plate.
Yeah.
You know, it just happens.
Yeah, I mean, the polite thing when you're attending a wedding is to try to give a good enough gift to offset the cost of your plate, in my opinion.
Yes.
I don't think everyone agrees with that, but that's how I always view it. But I do think it is just one of those, like, costs that you accept. You're not doing the wedding to make a profit.
Also, I feel like a lot of this is on Joe. They hadn't been dating that long.
How long were they dating?
They started dating in May.
Wait, so it's less than a year?
Yes.
Oh.
Like a month after they started dating, shortly after we started going out, he asked me to be a +1 to his friend Meg's wedding. So this is on him. You gotta expect, if you were that early on into a relationship, you gotta know that it might not work out. And you might not be taking this person to the actual wedding.
Sorry, so they started dating in May, and it's now August. And the wedding's in, what, September?
Probably September, yeah.
With that small of a window, I don't know if I would even invite her.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, I got invited to this wedding. It was too late for me to add you. And just not to actually confirm whether or not it was too late to add her or not.
I feel like that early on into a relationship, you don't bring them to weddings.
Destination wedding?
Yeah, they're flying out there.
I guess it's not destination for the couple, maybe, but it's destination for you.
Yeah.
And that seems extreme. I don't know. If you invite a date to a wedding and she backs out, you just eat the cost, in my opinion. It was very generous of her to give him money to reimburse for the plane ticket.
And the hotel.
And the hotel, yeah.
Top comment, NTA, you should pay for the cost of your flight and nothing more. This fellow will still need the hotel room, and the bride and groom absolutely can remove you from the count. You dated this man for all of 12 minutes. When he decided to invite a brand new girlfriend to a wedding, he knew that he was taking a chance and that it would not work out. Yeah, I think that's a good point. She shouldn't have to pay for the hotel room. She paid for half of the hotel room, and she shouldn't have had to do that.
Honestly, if you stuck him with the, like, airfare bill too, you might be a little bit of the asshole, but I don't think there's anything he could do.
Yeah.
Your relationship didn't turn out. Have a little spite.
NTA, Joe is scamming you. I got married last year and vendors required a final tally like 2 or 3 weeks in advance, not more than a month out. If Joe is truly worried about offsetting Meg's costs, he'll let her know that you're not coming and she'll just adjust her spreadsheets. No big deal.
It really sounds to me like Joe just doesn't want to deal with having to tell them.
That's a good point. Maybe he's just not going to tell them and,
Or he waited too long to tell them. I don't know. It sounds like this just needs to be a phone call on Joe's behalf. You don't owe him any more money. You've already been way too generous in a breakup.
You're NTA, and I'm cynical enough to go out on a limb and say this request for cash is coming from Joe, for the benefit of Joe, not from Meg.
If you want to get really petty with it, take the 125 or whatever and write it as a check to the happy couple.
OP responds to that. My understanding is that she is not asking for anything. I'm under the impression that Joe specifically asked her what the cost of my seat would be. His text to me was, talked with Meg today and she was not able to get the number for the catering/bar tab down for the wedding. Is it possible you can add $125 for the wedding itself?
So Yeah, open bar plus catering. Yeah, that's not a crazy number
Yeah.
for a seat. But the fact that he said talked with Meg today instead of like a month ago or however long you broke up
Yeah.
makes me think that Joe waited too long. Because they broke up a while ago, right?
I don't know exactly.
I thought it said.
A couple days ago, I ended the relationship with Joe.
Oh, that recent?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Then I had my time frame wrong. Either way, I wouldn't write the check to Joe if you're gonna cave and give the money. I would mail it to the happy couple. I think that's the only way. Yeah, that's the best solution. Honestly, the best solution is just let it be Joe's problem.
Yeah, I was like, the best solution is to be like, no, I'm not paying.
Yeah.
But if you do decide to pay, send it to Meg.
Absolutely. You probably have her. You can probably find her registry.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I'm sure there's some sort of address you can mail gifts to in there.
Yeah, I like that. Don't give money to Joe.
No. All right, that's our last story for this week.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet, and we'll see you next time.